Excuse me, everyone, I have a brief announcement to make. Jesus was black, Ronald Reagan was the devil, and the government is lying about 9/11. Thank you for your time and good night.
That can't be true! I'm handmade! Ow!
You having that dream where you made the white people riot, weren't you?
But I was telling the truth!
How many times have I told you you better not even dream about telling white folk the truth? You understand me? Shoot. Making white people riot. You better learn how to lie like me. I'm gonna find me a white man and lie to him right now.
What's up, you guys? Welcome back to my channel. I'm Missy. Today I have a treat for you guys. So I've been watching the Boondocks a lot recently because for some reason my YouTube has just been flooded with Boondocks episodes. So I've definitely been taking advantage of that. I've been watching them and I've been realizing that the Boondocks is still so relevant today. A lot of the things that they were trying to bring to light in these episodes make so much sense today, even though the series debuted in 2005. We're in 2022 and baby, things are still relevant today. So of course I decided to make a video for you guys, you know, a little commentary content. Don't forget to subscribe, guys, if you haven't already. If you're new to the channel, thank you so much. I'm always so happy when I get a new comment. Definitely don't forget to like this video and, you know, just do all the things that you know you're supposed to do. And hugs. So yeah, you guys, we have an amazing, fun, and long Boondocks video coming up right now. So go get yourself a snack, get all cozy, and without further ado, let's get into it. So The Boondocks is an adult animated sitcom based on Aaron McGruder's comedy strip of the same title. The sitcom was created for Cartoon Network's Adult Swim. So no, 12-year-olds should not be watching The Boondocks. I don't know why. When I was researching The Boondocks, this was a frequently asked question. The answer is no. I think I actually watched it when I was 15. Still, I think I was too young. But definitely no. If you're 12, you should not be watching The Boondocks. The Boondocks had a lot of notable celebrity voices, like John Witherspoon, may his soul rest in peace, Regina King, Cat Williams, Lil Wayne, Busta Rhymes, did I say Snoop Dogg? Premiering on November 6, 2005, the show focused on the Freemans, a black family living in the predominantly white suburb of Woodcrest. The show presents an obvious dichotomy between Riley and Huey Freeman's lives before moving into white suburbia and their present lives. It is unclear what happened to Riley and Huey's parents that caused them to have to move in with Granddad, or Robert Jebediah Freeman, as we also know him. The way they navigate their new settings provides for so much satire, comedy, and conflict. It's insane. So in today's video, that's exactly what I wanted to highlight, as well as the characters. I just wanted to get into how this show is still very much relevant today in 2022. I wanted to break this video down into two themes. I wanted to talk about capitalism and exploitation, as well as identity struggles and homophobia. I grouped the categories as such because I just felt like capitalism and exploitation worked together in the episodes that I wanted to discuss today, and identity issues and homophobia worked together in the other episodes that I wanted to discuss today. In an article on studybreaks.com by Maui Smith, they state, the Boondocks' strength lies in McGruder's ability to take serious issues in the Black community and comment on them without overtly preaching or losing any of the humor. What made the animated series special was that it was purposeful. Yeah, I totally agree with that. The show was very, very funny, and at the same time, there was a lot of purpose to almost everything in the show. All of the characters had their own unique personalities, yet we learned something from each and every one of them. Like I said earlier, Riley and Huey live in a predominantly white neighborhood while still being very much aware of their blackness. And the two boys are not even in the slightest bit the same. Huey is very passionate about Black issues and the progression of Black people in general. And Riley is, he's just Riley. I don't know how else to describe him. I actually went to high school with this kid named Riley Coombs, and he was literally the designated shit disturber. And I feel like that's the same for Riley Freeman. He is a shit disturber. He's very free-spirited, free-minded, and he is genuinely insane. Like, he does the craziest things, and it adds so much. It adds so much to the show, and it leaves so much room for commentary. To word that a little bit better, Riley is a menace, but he isn't just there to make us laugh. He is also there because he is essential in all of the lessons that we learn. Like, when he didn't want to snitch, he refused to snitch in that episode, and he winds up getting his bike stolen. And because he refuses to snitch, there's nothing he can do about it. That brings up so much discourse, so much commentary, and we'll get into that. Huey, on the other hand, takes the approach of outright just saying what needs to be said. In the first episode of the Boondocks, he doesn't waste any time telling these white people that Ronald Reagan is the devil. He doesn't usually get into unnecessary trouble either, and he often tries to sway Riley in a more productive direction. Like in the Fundraiser episode, when Riley was getting ready to go do some fake charity so that he could raise some funds, and Huey told him this is not going to end well and gave him a bulletproof vest. But we'll get into that. You see, Huey always tries to warn them, but they just never listen. Robert Freeman's character is also really interesting. He is sort of this strict grandfather who I believe wants the best for his grandchildren. His parenting style may not be understood by all, though it's very much a get your ass beat if you don't do what I say. And I mean, I can relate to it because that's kind of how I was raised, but I don't know how other people would receive it. It is a ruthless parenting style, and I know a lot of non-Black people were watching the Boondocks too, and I wonder how they received it, if they thought he was like an abusive parent or if they thought that he was like, you know, on one. He's also somewhat portrayed as neglectful or maybe not so great of a role model, like when he pretends to be blind for reality TV. Instead of just telling Riley, you know, it's wrong to lie and I'm not gonna go through with this with you, he just, you know, sets a really bad example for Riley by doing that. In the Blackjacking of the Soul Plane movie, in the episode Or Die Trying, we see how he also sets a bad example for Riley, Huey, and even Jasmine. So, you know, he has some questionable things that he does, but I think that Aaron McGruder purposely puts him in there. I'm not sure exactly why, but the way I interpreted it was there's this common discussion that the way that we parent in the Black community might be somewhat flawed and that it might have an impact on us as a people. Not all Black people parent the same, obviously, but I think there is a common discussion where even we judge each other as Black people, like to say the way that you're parenting your kids is the problem, like that's the problem. So that the parenting style where the parent doesn't really lead a good example, I think Aaron McGruder shows that a lot. that parenting style that is constantly judged and evaluated. But aside from these three main characters, Riley, Huey, and Robert Freeman, we also have the neighbors, the Dubois. Like I just mentioned, Jasmine Dubois, she's very naive. We have Sarah, also pretty naive, and Tom, naive and a coward. And then we also have characters like Gangstalicious, we have Magnificent, and we also have Uncle Ruckus, the most racist black man you'll probably ever come across on cartoon TV. So yeah, there you have it. We'll get into all of these characters and more as I go over the next few episodes. The first major theme that I wanted to point out is capitalism and exploitation. And I wanted to start with this theme of capitalism and exploitation because capitalism is at an all-time high in 2022. It's been on the rise for years now, and more people are participating in capitalism at a higher level than before. And with that comes exploitation, as people are opening more and more businesses, and as large companies are becoming larger and richer, they're using more help me with this word.
Exploitative.
Tactics where they might be using child labor or underpaying their employees, even exploiting their own customers. There's so much capitalism going on right now that it's not a surprise that there's more exploitation than ever before. They kind of work hand in hand. And the episode titled "The Block is Hot" does a wonderful job of showing what can happen when capitalism meets exploitation, or when you take advice from bad people concerning your small business. So like every other episode of the Boondocks, this one starts out with absolute chaos that kind of seems like it came out of nowhere, but at the same time, it makes perfect sense. Now let me explain. Huey leaves the house in winter attire even though it is scorching hot outside. He goes to sit on a soapbox where Jasmine is happily selling her lemonade, and as he does, Huey is trying to warn people about the government, and so he's just kind of killing the mood, and nobody's trying to hear what he has to say. Meanwhile, Riley is opening up a fire hydrant to get his black boy joy on. He just wants to have, a fire hydrant party when Uncle Ruckus won't stop nagging him and making him feel like an outsider. So he sprays the shit out of him, as he should, and Uncle Ruckus calls the cops. When the cops get there, they start shooting at Uncle Ruckus because he's black and he's there. So they start shooting at him because they got a call in a predominantly white neighborhood and he's there and he's black. So obviously he's the culprit, right? And this doesn't really have anything to do directly with the theme of capitalism and exploitation that I want to touch on right now. But I just had to add that in because it was part of the episode and we do see what the Boondocks is trying to do here, right? Now let's get back to the theme. The Boondocks highlights capitalism and exploitation in The Block is Hot in a couple of ways. First, by simply producing and selling the lemonade, Jasmine is actively participating in capitalism. And she even has her own selling tactic.
Would you like to hear about how the government wants you dead by 62 so you can't collect on Social Security?
Is that true?
Yes, but lemon juice can lead to a longer, healthier life.
Oh, I'll take a cup.
See? You depressed him, and I had a lemonade ready to cheer him up. That's called synergy.
Damn, it's hot.
Now, here comes Mr. Wensler, and you can just tell he is no good. Like, look at his face. He looks absolutely insane. So Mr. Wensler sees Jasmine doing such a great job slinging her lemonade, And this is where exploitation comes into play.
What's this here? Jasmine's Lemonade Parade. The E's are backwards. Interesting. Well, Jasmine, I'm a very powerful man with a very powerful thirst. What do you recommend?
Lemonade.
Lemonade was a popular drink in my day, and it still is. One lemonade, please.
$1, please, Mr. Onceler.
How's business?
Not good enough. I'm saving for a pony.
A pony? Wow, those can be pricey. Like a couple $100.
I know. I'm like, hey, guys, I could buy a car for that much.
Talk about highway robbery.
Highway robbery.
First of all, I have to mention how Jasmine's dad is an attorney, and none of this should have happened. But this is cartoon world, and for some reason, Mr. Onceler happens to succeed with exploiting a child who is the daughter of an attorney. Mr. Onceler pops up out of nowhere, like I was saying, and of course, Huey calls him out flat out, is like, you're sus.
Magnificent. I admire entrepreneurship in young people.
You mean like them 12-year-old girls who work in your sweatshops in Indonesia?
Mr. Onceler denies it all. Just kidding.
That's right. Every morning I wake up and put one foot on the ground and the other up the ass of a 12-year-old Indonesian girl. And if this country didn't have unions and child labor laws, maybe your generation would understand the value of hard work. Like this little girl here.
He said, okay, and? He even says that if the laws were different here, he would do it here too. And then he commends Jasmine for her hard work and says, yeah, like, kids would know how to work hard like you, and further manipulates her. This just goes to show how a lot of times bad shit will be happening with these big corporations. Like I was saying, they could be underpaying people, they could be using child labor, they could be doing a whole list of things. But it's not like they're hiding it half the time. And I feel like the Boondocks is trying to tell us that, like, just because you expose a company for doing something evil doesn't mean they're gonna care, stop, or even deny it. Like, sometimes they literally, it's clear that this is happening, but they don't deny it. Of course, Jasmine ignores the clear warning that this is not a good idea, and she makes a deal with the devil.
Why not make your next move your best move, huh?
Deal!
Make your next move your best move.
My lawyers will be by with the paperwork this afternoon.
Like so many people do. Her lemonade stand is gonna be exchanged for a pony. A pony. This is comical. So she didn't read the terms and conditions, by the way. She doesn't know that, girl, you're gonna have to sell a certain amount of lemonade for you to even get this pony, for you to actually earn the pony. And two, he doesn't have to do anything. He already owns your lemonade stand just by you signing the contract, but you can't own the pony just by you signing the contract. You have to keep working to earn the pony. So that's just a beautiful deal to me. How about you guys? Am I right, ladies? Am I right, ladies? Am I right, ladies? Like, yeah, this is an amazing deal. Like, sign me up. Sign me up. So Jasmine kind of just goes on to be overworked, underpaid, until she's completely brainwashed. So Riley pulls up on her and he's like, yo, Jasmine, I don't have enough money for this lemonade. Like, can you give me a little discount? And Jasmine's like, no, like, go to hell. And Riley's like, he's clearly pissed about it.
I ain't got no dollar. It's hot as hell out here, man. Just hook me up. All the money I spent up in this place, this some old bullshit.
And she's like, she says this cryptic line. Like, she starts just saying some crazy cryptic shit like this.
You'll never get anywhere in this world without doing a fair day's work for a fair day's pay.
A fair day's work for a fair day's pay. Like, girl, where are you coming up with this? You're 7 years old. I have no idea how old she is, but how are you coming up with this? A fair day's work for a fair day's pay. Like, you sound real crazy, girl. But I don't know why that cracked me up so much. Then Tom pops up and asks for his daughter's freedom. Asks, not demand. Asks. He's like, can my daughter please not have to work for you anymore? Like, Tom, take your child and go. Like, you don't have to. But Wenzel just manipulates her. He doesn't even like, he just kind of threatens Tom, and Tom just leaves it because Tom's a coward. And then he manipulates Jasmine to keep working for him. He even says that, girl, if you don't work here, not only will you not get the pony, but this pony's gonna starve to death because without your percentage of the profits, we can't feed the pony. He says something about the pony starving in a pile of its own feces. This man is batshit. Yui is literally the only one with sense in the show. And Yui tries to help Jasmine. You know, he tries to start up a movement and get this girl freed. Free this woman. Stand up, Jasmine. You are weak in the knees, girl, for this damn pony. He pulls up with these people and they don't do nothing. They hold hands, they're dancing, they're singing, and they're just having a kumbaya moment instead of helping this poor little girl. There the Boondocks goes again, teaching us that a lot of these organizations don't want to take any action. They have this whole cause that really does matter, that really will help a lot of people, but then when the time comes for them to break down a system, they don't do anything. They just pull up and start singing. You don't have to have a riot, but please, destroy the lemonade stand, take the baby home. Come on now. And the fact that Jasmine gets mad at Huey is really testament to the fact that you could become so brainwashed that you think that your captor is your hero and your hero is your captor, or whatever, however you want to put it. She is crazy now. Like, she just doesn't even know right from wrong anymore. So Wenzel returns to the scene one last time. One last time. And this time he has ponies. You guessed it, ponies. And this is just to taunt Jasmine, because you better believe not one of the ponies, I think there were like 4 ponies, none of them were for Jasmine. He didn't bring, I don't know why he brought them. I don't get it. Either way, he pulls up with the ponies. None of them are intended for Jasmine. And he says this.
Ladies and gentlemen, it has been brought to my attention that Jasmine's Lemonade Parade has been using child labor.
Are you serious? That would have been it for me. Like, I would have had a psychotic meltdown if I were Jasmine. I would have lost all my marbles. So what does he do to combat this child labor that's going on at Jasmine's lemonade stand? He doesn't call the police. He doesn't try to get justice for Jasmine. He doesn't try to put these filthy animals behind bars because he's the filthy animal. He doesn't care. He is the one who is exploiting, but he's acting like there's some crazy child labor shit going on. That he is here to resolve it. Okay, so you guys want to guess how he resolves it?
Obviously, this comes as a great surprise to me. So I present to you Wenzel's cruelty-free lemonade.
Cruelty-free lemonade, people. Cruelty-free lemonade. And of course, everybody is outraged. Everybody's like, what the fuck? Why? Why would you bring a cruelty-free lemonade to help this child? You know, like, of course everybody's gonna be mad, right? Wrong. No one cared.
It's lemonade, but without the biting sting of injustice.
Its lack of cruelty makes it look delicious.
And I know it's cruelty-free because he said so.
And it's on the label.
They drank the lemonade. They did not give a fuck. They were like, what? This is gonna solve all our problems. Cruelty-free lemonade? Sign me up. Jasmine never gets her pony because the contract was literally bonkers. Like, she was never gonna get that pony. And it starts snowing because it's February, and at this point, I'm just confusion. Honestly, I am confusion. Okay, so that episode was a very long breakdown, but only because it literally, like, the entire episode had something to comment on, and I really enjoyed this episode because I thought it was just really well done. The next episode, the S word, I'm only gonna focus on a small part of this episode, and that is when Reverend Rolo Goodlove pulls up. I gotta give you guys background on this so that you understand, okay? Riley's teacher, a white man, calls him the N-word. His excuse being Riley says it all the time and he was just parroting him. Now, this is based on a true story actually, and Reverend Goodlove pulls up out of nowhere and says, you know what? You guys have been wrongfully treated and I'm gonna get you monetary compensation for it. Now, we all know that that's not gonna happen. We know how America works. And if they're not gonna give black people reparations for all the shit that they wrongfully stole from us, why would they give Robert Jebediah Freeman and his 2 kids money because a white man said the N-word? Especially since they have the excuse now that Riley says it all the time. So, you know, they have shit that they will argue. So, I think they should have known from the jump that they weren't gonna get $500,000 for that. But either way, he pulls up and he tries to convince them that he's gonna get their monetary compensation. And Yui, right off the bat, says to them, you're not getting anything. This man is trying to promote his upcoming BET show. And as soon as he gets on national TV, that's exactly what he does. He tries to promote his upcoming BET show, just like Huey tried to warn. He's always trying to warn them. They don't ever listen, though.
Why does that word still have so much power?
Well, Larry King...
That's a very good question. Which reminds me of an upcoming episode we did on My Dad Rollo, which premieres next month on Black Entertainment Television, thank you. Matter of fact, I brought the clip of it if you'd like to see it.
Sure thing. If we have it ready, let's go to the clip.
Honey, I'm home. Hey, have the kids found jobs and moved out yet? Hey there, Trudy.
Like, Reverend Goodlove literally references his show for questions that have to do with the actual issue at play. He references his show every time a question is asked and doesn't really give the Freemans any sort of, like, spotlight. It's even revealed later on that Reverend Goodlove is working with Ann Coulter, the white woman who keeps popping up and arguing with him on CNN. And I think this just goes to show how, like, with the CNN branding just being there so unapologetically, how the Boondocks didn't apologize for anything. They did not care. Like, they were making it clear that, yeah, we see these commentators and a lot of them are peers. A lot of these people who are arguing with each other over the news are peers. A lot of them are doing this for some monetary benefit or for coverage. They just want to be seen. A lot of them are working together. So we see that as well. And it's funny because the woman that is shown here calling Riley a thug and just being outright insane and racist is Ann Coulter. She is a real commentator. She's a real conservative commentator. And they even show her to be so much of a hypocrite as to have a black boyfriend while saying all those racist slurs.
Hello, hey, baby.
Hey,
come here, give me some of that sugar,
You
daddy.
get a little fit back there, ain't you, girl? And how you doing, Abdul?
Damn, Abdul, can you let a bitch work? Shit, one of us has to. It ain't like yo ass is going to get a job. You know I had to bail this motherfucker out of jail again, right? Must be like the 10th time. So anyway, the school board pay you yet?
No. We still waiting. They ain't broke that bread yet. But any day now.
Yeah, it's literally wild. So in the episode The Fundraiser, we're gonna just move on now. Riley becomes money hungry and decides to raise funds for himself. Remember how I was talking about this earlier in the video? Instead of selling candy bars for the school like the rest of the kids, Riley decides to sell candy bars under his own cause. Like, he said he's doing this for every charity. He's just keeping all the money for himself, okay? If you didn't figure it out by now.
You want to start a fundraiser with no cause? Cause, nigga. I'm the cause. Cause I want a house. Cause I want a yacht. Cause I want to get this guap, nigga. That's the cause. You watch a lot of gangster movies, right? I seen all of them. That's how I know what to do. Okay. How many of them have a happy ending? Yeah. Okay, but see, that's how I know it's gonna work, right? Cause I seen all the mistakes they made. And I'm not gonna make them same mistakes. See, I'm gonna do everything the smart way. Riley, I'm gonna tell you everything that's about to happen if you do this, and how bad this is gonna end. First of all... stop right there. Every time I want to do something, you tell me what's gonna happen first. And then that's what happened. And you always ruin the endings and stuff, man. I'm sick of it. I want to be surprised this time. So no matter how bad it is, you don't want to hear it. Nope. Cause it's really bad. Hey, spoiler alert, nigga. Didn't you hear me? Keep it to yourself. Here. Good luck. Thanks. That still kind of spoiled it, though.
And this speaks to a bigger issue because a lot of these fundraising causes that we see, like these big causes, they allocate funds to things that have nothing to do with what they said that they were going to be using the funds for, or whatever is publicly known that the funds are supposed to be used for. So something might be in the fine print, but the general public doesn't really think that that's what you're using the money for, so it's deceitful. This is even occurring right now, today in 2022. Have you guys heard of the story of this TikToker who was raising funds for their surgery, their gender transition surgery, I believe it's called, and they never used the money for the surgery. They were living a luxurious lifestyle. They had several GoFundMe accounts. So they had literally raised so much money, but they didn't use it for anything that they said they were gonna do. So those are those GoFundMe scams. And then there's also even huge organizations like Black Lives Matter that are known for allocating funds to causes that have nothing to do with Black wellness, Black finances, the Black community, Black children, nothing Black. It has nothing to do with the Black community on a whole. So if you don't believe me, just do a little bit of research and don't just look on the first page of Google, because a lot of stuff is being hidden. This isn't the only lesson to be learned here, though, about capitalism and exploitation. We could talk about exploitation and how it works in the world of trapping, right? Cindy, who is like the most gangster little white girl you will ever see in your life, is slinging Girl Scout cookies, but she doesn't allow anybody on her block. She's even beating hoes up in the streets because they're selling Girl Scout cookies on her block. And when Riley asks her, yo, do you get any cash from this? She says, no. I just move up in the Girl Scout ranks.
Going over there, and I know she ain't down with your team. Who? I don't know, some skinny, big-headed bitch. Word? Come on. She wasn't like Jasmine or Phil. Cindy was a G. What you think you're doing here? You talking to me?
Yeah, I'm talking to you. Open your bag. What's in your bag?
Cindy.
I'll kill you, bitch. Get it, Cindy. Come here.
But what I really liked about her was that she had less compassion than the average girl.
Take off, bitch. My street.
Take off.
Baby.
Hey, how's the cookie hustle?
It's cool. You want a box?
Nah, I don't give. You get to keep any of that cookie money?
I wish. I move up in the Girl Scout ranks and get awards and whatnot, but no cash.
What does that remind you of, though? What does that remind you of? This reminds me of shady businesses like drug dealing and even trafficking, where people are putting their lives at risk. They're putting their livelihood at risk. You're gonna end up in jail. And they're not really living the lifestyle that they you know, for a high-risk job, like I want to be living like, I want to live like I'm risking my life every day. You know, I want to live good, but they're not getting that. So it speaks to that, like doing a lot but getting very little in return is a concept that happens a lot in that world. And the Boondocks shows that, like the whole fundraising episode was like, there was like drug dealing, but on a kid level, you know, like candy dealing. It was, you know. Anyway, the episode ended beautifully and it was just hilarious. I gotta show you guys a couple clips that I enjoyed from this episode.
As far as you're concerned, I'm Willy fucking Wonka and you're taking a shit in my fucking chocolate factory. Easy, boss. Don't get upset. When I have to go to the dentist, I'm upset. When Liverpool beats Arsenal, I'm upset. But when some little shit decides to take over one of the most profitable territories in the country, I'm beyond fucking upset. I'm very fucking upset. So, from now on, you're under new management. You will work for me, and in return, you'll receive an allowance.
Allowance?
Yes, allowance. As in, I'm allowing you to keep 10%, and I'm allowing you to keep drawing breath on this earth. Now, you either get down, or you lay down. What's it gonna be, sunshine?
This wasn't no movie. The smart thing was to say yes, get up, and leave the room. But then I thought to myself, what if this was a movie? Look, fuck you, fuck the plane you flew in on, fuck them shoes, fuck those socks with the bell on it, fuck your gay-ass fairy faggot accent, fuck them cheap-ass cigars, fuck your yuck-mouth teeth, fuck your hairpiece, fuck your chocolate, fuck Guy Ritchie, fuck Prince William, fuck the Queen. This is America. My president is black and my Lambo is blue, nigga. Now get the fuck out my hotel room. And if I see you in the street, I'm slapping the shit out of you.
I think this one spent too much time in the cinema. Teach this cheeky bastard a lesson.
Nobody fucking move!
Oh man, this is bad.
No, Riley clearly did not learn his lesson, and that is the end of the theme called Capitalism and Exploitation. Let's move on to the next theme, which is identity struggles and homophobia. And this was a recurring theme in the Boondocks. Now let's start with the episode Thank You For Not Snitching, where Riley and Granddad believe that it is wrong and it is just not black to snitch, okay? The episode opens with two men robbing a house in Woodcrest, the neighborhood where the Freemans reside. And when the police go door to door to ask, what did you see? The Freemans refuse to talk to them. Even though they didn't see anything, they just don't want to talk to the police. Things change when Granddad gets his car stolen, which Riley actually happens to witness. He literally sees these people steal his grandfather's car, but Granddad begs Riley and Riley refuses to tell him who did it because I can't snitch, Granddad. Like, I'm a real nigga, I can't snitch. Later on in the episode, Granddad gets his car back, but Riley's bike gets stolen, and sticking to his guns, he refuses to snitch, even though he knows exactly who the culprits are.
Eddie Rummy just stole my bike! Niggas, I can't stand him. Stole my damn bike. Hey, come back. Be back. Wow.
What's that, boy?
Nothing.
Where's your bike? I hope you got some insurance on those spinners. Whee! Thank you for not snitching,
you stupid motherfucker.
And look how they leave his ass with his bike. Look how they leave him there. The episode shines light on identity struggles in the Black community more than you might think at first glance. And as Black people, we sometimes have this inability to divert from certain behaviors, even though they have a negative impact on us as individuals, because we feel like these behaviors tie in so much with our identity. But if we take an even deeper look, Black people's reluctance to speak to the police has become a part of our identity, not just for fun, not just because we don't want to talk to the police, but because of history. The episode has a key scene where someone is a criminal informant, and I think that is where Aaron kind of sheds light on, okay, yes, this is a funny episode. Yes, we're talking about how Black people don't like to snitch, but look what happens when Black people snitch. So they actually show you like this is the deeper meaning why we might resonate with this idea of how we deal with the police.
The problem Black people have with snitching is that the police don't necessarily protect those that come forward. Take the case of Bernard Jefferson, who helped the police shut down a local crack house.
Hey, you did the right thing.
So, do you think I might need some protection or something?
Yeah, that's more the feds thing. You'll be fine. You see anything weird, you just give us a call, all right, buddy? Okay.
Hey, Bernard! You snitch-ass motherfucker! Shut the fuck up!
Bernard lived, but when he refused to identify the man who shot him, he was charged with conspiracy and sentenced to a month in jail.
So we see the criminal informant who has just helped the police officers to put somebody behind bars. Now, if it were a perfect world, he should receive full protection from the police for doing something so good, for helping put a criminal behind bars. But that is not what happened. Very little protection is provided for rats and snitches. They help the government or the police or whoever, and then they're disposed of. What happens to you after, they don't care about. And they even use manipulative tactics to get you to snitch. So that's why Black people might not be able to trust the police. And I really love how they added that to the episode. But let's move on to the next episode, Shinin, because identity struggles are at the forefront again in this episode. It opens with Thugnificent showcasing his mansion on MTV Cribs. We already see how Thugnificent reminds us of rappers and even now influencers who attach their identity to how much they're able to show off. If you listen to what Thugnificent is bragging about, it's mostly about breeding envy among the people who are witnessing his success.
I know y'all love my music and love my videos and shit, but be fully prepared to drink hella haterade, nigga, because y'all about to see how good it is to be me and how bad it is to be you. We got plenty of...
He's literally just doing this to receive hate, and it's crazy. Things get a little bit interesting though when Riley asks to join the group. He wants to join Lethal Interjections, and Thugnificent quickly warns him that being a part of this group is all about getting the paper. Like, are you ready to do this, Riley? Because it's very important that you're all about your paper. Now, as Riley tries to convince him that he'll be a great addition to the group, he tells him that if his music doesn't work, he says, quote, "If this music shit doesn't work out, we're about to be robbing people." Because there's no other option, right? Like, your music career fails, you rob people. Like, there's no other route. You can't take any other route in life. And Riley's need to be a part of the group and Thugnificent's like get rich quick attitude are both like very dominant in this episode. And you see how they both tie in with identity struggles in the Black community. The need to be a part of a group that is seen as respected because of money, the ability to show off and show out, and that's for Riley. And the struggle with also wanting to get money the fast way because of how the media is showing us, which I'm gonna get into in a second, constantly how if you don't play ball, if you don't have the talent to play ball, or you can't be a rapper, then it's crime. Like, the media, especially at that time, was not showing a lot of Black people seeking careers that weren't, or getting really rich off of, I don't know, fucking cryptocurrency, or having a small business that just ended up blowing up, or having a fashion brand. Like, those weren't like important to show. It was more important to show Black people getting money either by playing basketball or football or rapping. Riley is really struggling with his identity throughout the series, but this episode just takes the cake for me. Like, as a young kid, what is he really supposed to do? He doesn't know who he is and will do anything to fit in with a prominent group so that he has some sort of identity to latch onto. And he goes through a series of tests. He agrees with everything Magnificent says, because no one's allowed to disagree with him to be in the group. He puts himself in danger, and he invites a bunch of strangers from MySpace over to party with his new crew. And he's a young kid. He shouldn't be around so many strangers. And this speaks back to what I was saying when I said in the Thank You For Not Snitching episode, we struggle with our identity, and it can lead us to do things that may harm us. Like, how is it helpful for you, Riley, to agree with everything Magnificent says, put yourself in danger by standing on top of a car while it's going, and all of those, being around all of these creepy strangers as a kid, and, you know, just putting yourself in real danger just to fit in, just because you don't know who you are. And I just wasn't surprised when I realized that Riley didn't just want to be part of the group, he also wanted a chain. That's a big part of the reason why. Because Riley might be crazy, but he's not stupid. Like, he will do these things to be a part of your group, but better believe there's going to be more to it than just being around you. Like, he has to gain something. So Riley wants one of these decked out chains that they have. Now, when Riley is envisioning his life with this chain on, he says this:
I had a chain, everything in my life would be perfect. But what happened to the chain that I'm cookie bar you? Nigga, you know that wasn't no chain, that was a necklace. This'll be a real chain. Oh, man, I can't wait for niggas to start hating, I can't wait. So you judge your success by the amount of ill will you generate from those around you. Hey, if niggas ain't mad at you, then you doing something wrong. By that definition, then, you have a very bright future. Thanks, man.
Now, does this sound familiar to you? Because we see this mainly with Black celebrities. Like, mainly with Black celebrities. I'm not saying white celebrities don't do this, but mainly with Black celebrities. Like, how often do you see white celebrities being extremely flashy with jewelry, clothing, and other expensive assets? When Magnificent says all of the hate he generated will be passed on to Riley too, like, it reminded me of those situations where rappers get seriously hurt or killed for a piece of jewelry. No one really talks about that though. They don't talk about it for long enough, at least. And why it is something that makes us such a target is still preached about, rapped about, still talked about like it's the end all be all. No one stopped rapping about how icy their chain or their watch is. No one stopped rapping about all of the bling bling that they have. And is this because for some reason it's part of our identity? We can't just be rich, we have to be hood rich. And when Magnificent says everyone is willing to die for his chain, someone immediately cuts him off to say,
No, not me. Well, no thanks. Except for Leonard. But he's bitch made.
Because why would you do that? Why would you want to die for a chain? I think Black people are truly royalty. We're regal, and maybe we do like jewelry. Maybe the vast majority of us do like to be flashy, and maybe we do like to be fashionable, but making it so attached to our identity that somebody would say, I'm willing to die for a chain. No. You're worth more than that. And I think that's kind of what this episode was trying to show. And that guy interrupted Magnificent and was like, no, not me. Like, chain's cool and all. It's nice to have money. I'm not saying you can't be rich. Don't get me wrong here. It's nice to have money, but bro, you're not gonna die over a chain. Like, it's not worth it. And this is what I'm talking about when I say Aaron Magruder has a purpose for every episode. We're all laughing. We're all laughing when that person says, not me, nigga. But I know we all had a second to think. Like, we all had a second to think about, like, why would all of us Why would a lot of us be willing to die for a chain? And we don't even have to be talking about chains here. Why would a lot of us be willing to live a fast, flashy life, even if we knew that it would end in violence, jail time, pain, and suffering for our families? It's not just a chain, it's the principle. We have become very detached to who we are at the core, and it's not completely our fault because many Black Americans don't even know their history, they don't even know their lineage, and in fact the media tries to shove down their own message of who we are down our throats, and it's very easy to absorb that information and resonate with it. So we're constantly fed the story that they want us to believe about who we are. Anyway, cue the montage when Riley got the chain, because who could talk to my guy right now? Who could talk to him?
Yeah.
I done came up, got my name up. So when they speak of who blinged up, I'm who they bring up. Come up dissing and you'll come up missing. I'm a cutthroat baller like O.J. Simpson. Little homie, listen, try and serve me. I put a 25 in your back like Barry Bonds jersey. On the streets, on the beach, y'all ain't able. Cause two of this on rappers like major labels. What's with the ice grilling, homie? Change your face. Cause he done do more than tan you to change your race. Girls love metaphor, and I love them back. Addicted to getting head, chicks call me the brainiac. Battle rap with words war like jihad. I write dope, flow crack, my notepad need rehab. Y'all see these, y'all can't see these or touch these. Rhyme so chronic.
But then things took a turn for the worse when Riley got his chain stolen by the terrible human Butch Magnus. Now fast forward to the end of the episode and the chain wasn't even real. But Riley doesn't care. He doesn't get mad that he fought and went through all that trouble for a fake chain. He doesn't feel deceived by Thugnificent. He's just happy he got his chain back. But let's not forget that Granddad literally told him, you need to get your chain back. I broke into somebody's house to retrieve my stolen goods back. You can't go down without a fight. And while I may agree to this to a certain extent, not over material possessions, your life is more important. Like, Butch could have seriously killed Riley. He could have really killed him. Like, Granddad literally spent a couple $1,000s to break into someone's home to get an album back, a $5 album back. And Riley thought this was so cool and brave. And Granddad should have cut it off right there and been like, yo, I was bugging. I didn't have to do that. I should just let it go. But we have to remember that Granddad is the one who is teaching Huey and Riley how to be Black men. He's not really one to let shit go. So Riley and Huey are probably not gonna grow up with that let me just let it go attitude. And Huey doesn't really let things go that much either. Maybe in a different way, but I'm sad that we don't get to talk about Huey as much in this video because Riley's just Riley. Let's not also forget that when Thugnificent goes to get the chain back from a kid, a big kid, but a kid, he only wins by default. He only wins because Butch Magnus is like, yo, this is fake. I don't want it. Here's your shit. So we see time and time again that a lot of these people aren't even who they pretend to be. Like, Thugnificent's not even a real thug. Like, he's just pretending. Speaking of not being the thug you're pretending to be, let's talk about Gangstalicious. Because he really just sets the stage for us to talk about homophobia in the Black community. There's a lot of it. And in the Story of Gangstalicious Part 2, we really get to dive into that. It begins with a viewer's discretion of sorts. I think this is one of, if not the only episode in the Boondocks where they show a recap from the previous season. This episode is a continuation from the Story of Gangstalicious Part 1 where he gets shot. Riley goes to see him in the hospital and ends up getting held captive with him, only to find out that this is a crime of passion from Gangstalicious' gay lover, who the song Thug in Love is allegedly written for. Yeah, I know. So Riley returns home and tells Huey he had a dream that Gangstalicious was kissing a man, because for some reason it couldn't have happened in real life. But it did, but it couldn't have, right? Now, Riley doesn't believe Gangstalicious is gay, but because of how he almost got him killed in the hospital, he just doesn't respect him as a gangster anymore. Like, he just doesn't think, like, you're just not a gangster anymore. Riley can't help himself when Homies Over Hoes comes on, though. He's like, homies over hoes, homies over hoes, do the homie, do the homie. You always looking at the TV like, yo, this is some real fairy, like, this is some real fairy shit. But to be honest with you guys, I don't even know what to comment on this episode because the names they give the actual gay rappers, the fashion, the montage of Riley calling everything but Gangstalicious gay. He's straight up in denial because his role model can't be gay even when he's outright saying, do the homie. Like, I'm gonna try my best to comment on this episode properly though, because this is crazy. I think there's a bit of mental conflict for Thugnificent and his gang. I love the part where they're talking about how the way they talk about women and having women around all the time makes them look gay. And one of them, whose name I don't know, but he's played by Snoop Dogg, says, well, we're calling them bitches and hoes, so it's not like we're respecting them, so that's not gay. Because they're just trying to justify why Gangstalicious is doing better than them music-wise, and they're saying that they're being gay because they're not making tracks that go do the homie. But you see the intense identity struggle here. You can have women around and feel a need for feminine presence as long as you don't respect them. That's gay? When are we gonna come to terms with the fact that the only correct definition for gay is when you're attracted to the same sex? That's it. That's literally it. But why such a deep fear to be gay? Like, why is it the worst thing that you could possibly be? Gangstalicious is talking about holding burners as a way to advertise his designs and not just gets overlooked, but talk about him being gay? Now, this we have to get into. We can't talk about him being gay. He could carry a burner, but gay? That's where we draw the line. Sexuality is such a big deal, like, but why? Why is it such a big deal when if you're not sleeping with the person, then why do you care? That's just me though. But anyway, Granddad starts going to lengths to get Riley to stop being gay. He even says he might not be able to love Riley, his own grandson, if he's gay. He brings over a pimp named Slick, who is Cat Williams, and he's just hilarious, to talk some sense into Riley, who confirms that Homies Over Hoes is in fact gay. That's what a pimp named Slick says. Bro, you gotta stop listening to that fairy gay shit. Then Gangstalicious gets exposed by a former girlfriend for, you guessed it, being gay, and that's what the whole episode is about, is just him being gay. What really annoyed me though is that Thugnificent's broke ass had the nerve, he had the gallbladder to say that he won't work with Gangstalicious because he's gay, knowing damn well he needs the work, knowing damn well he's getting kicked out of that mansion next season. You need the work. You better work with whoever you can. You could work with an actual fairy. You need to work. Why is being gay that damn serious though, is what I kept asking myself when I watched this. But it's funny because when Gangstalicious pops up, instead of just being straight up with him, instead of just telling him, yo, I'm not gonna work with you because I don't want to be around you because I'm homophobic, like real thugs would just tell the truth because they don't give a fuck. They hide under rugs, they hide in the jacuzzi, they hide in all sorts of weird ass places. They won't even pick up his calls because they're so thuggish, right? Yeah. And Riley almost comes to terms with the fact that Gangstalicious is gay. He almost accepts it. I mean, in a fit of tears, he almost accepts it because for some reason he thinks if he listens to Gangstalicious, that makes him gay by association. So he kind of accepts it until the very end of the episode, where he meets up with Gangstalicious, asks him if he's gay, and Gangstalicious denies it because some of the most homophobic people are actually gay. I think that's also what the Boondocks was trying to tell us. But Riley buys into his shit because, well, he's a kid and he just wants to keep his role model, and he doesn't think he could still like Gangstalicious if he's gay, and the episode ends there. I know. Now, I also wanted to talk about self-hatred in the Black community and Uncle Ruckus, but I think I'm gonna leave that for another video because I think I want to make a whole video about Uncle Ruckus. But you guys see how relevant the Boondocks still is today? Like, this is insane, and it's still hilarious today too. So just go search up some episodes on YouTube. There are a lot of them out right now. I truly enjoyed making this video. Thank you so much for listening to me. Subscribe if you haven't already so that you can see more videos like this. Leave a like as well so that YouTube knows that you enjoyed this video. Comment. I love reading your comments. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.